I'm Sylvie Fortin. I'm an independent curator based between Montreal and New York, and I was curator in residence at Bemis Center from 2019 to 2021. What I had proposed was a little bit different from what Bemis had usually done, and I was really impressed and excited by the fact that they were willing to come on this experiment. What I had proposed was to take the 12 months and stretch it over 3 years. So the same kind of presence on site, but more time to make connection with the community, to get to know a city. I've done several curator in residence projects before, and they're always too short. I think that there's a structural problem between the wishes, desires, and expectations and the reality of the format. And I think what we were able to do at Bemis was test out an alternative. What was exciting for me in the opportunity at Bemis was, threefold. One, that there is this amazing production capability here, amazing spaces, and also people that can help artists kind of, realize the projects that they want to do. Also, the fact that I would interface and work with so many cohorts of artists in residence who I may not otherwise know. So how that was also part of my ongoing research. My overall project, which is a project that's been ongoing since 2017 and probably will continue for the rest of my life, is an investigation of what I call the currencies of hospitality. Quickly, there were 3 questions that I decided to kind of explore. The first one was a show in 2019 with Richard Ipke and Mary Lou Lemons. That show has since been traveling. Consider questions of land use, of agriculture, of toxicity, pesticide use, and so on. So the question there was the relationship between hospitality and what we understand broadly as notions of habitat. Who lives somewhere and with whom and how. The second area, which is perhaps more obvious, was, because Berkshire Hathaway is here, and when you're from somewhere else, often that's the only thing you know about Omaha, and also meeting people who were working in banking and who were working in insurance. And so realizing that these things are not, again, big global questions, but they're embodied by people with whom I was having lunch, dinner, coffee, whatsoever. Liv's project looked at the relationship between hospitality and inflation or forms of speculation. The third and last project, which is the current project, and you see a little bit behind me, group shows for me are where a curator's work really shines. When you get to the airport in Omaha, as you walk out of the sort of boarding area, you see several posters and signs. And those for me are always telling. This is where a city announces itself to visitors and reinforces itself also to its citizens. So I always pay a lot of attention to these because they really give you a nice reading of where you are. But the vast majority of them are about healthcare. I decided to kind of focus on hospitality and the body, and it's a huge and very capacious topic, so the ways in which I develop it is to sort of segment it out or look at one particular aspect, and I choose that aspect in relationship to the place where I work. And so this was all before COVID. The research was going a certain way, and then COVID, which is the question of the virus, which is a question of hospitality, kind of really had me reconsider several things. Made the show, I think, more relevant, possibly. I think maybe people coming to the exhibition today are perhaps more attuned to the ways in which a body is not a carapace, but something that is wonderfully open and equally wonderfully vulnerable to several things. And hopefully this is a place where we can really think in a productive way together. To make sure that the theory and also what artists are doing is connected. So I'm not a curator who will work from a theme first or who will design an exhibition thematically. That's not how we live in the world. I'm more interested in perhaps the things that are less obvious, and to me that's what a group show is about as well. I mean, is that an exhibition is something that a visitor takes with them. So the experience is not over when you close the door. If a show is successful, it will kind of stay with you in some way. So in a way, an exhibition is something that has that happens in spaces, over a set space over time, but hopefully kind of lasts in a way that you can't track and is disseminated into as many viewers that have come and as they move in the world, and that's where the exhibition continues and happens.